Welcome to the Boxing Talk Show.
Fair but firm.
With the Hall of Fame boxing referee.
I'm Joe Cortez.
And co-host John Zamel for all of Las Vegas.
Come on, guys. Let's touch them up. Fight. I'm Joe Cortez. Fair but firm.
Welcome to the Fair but Firm Show here in Las Vegas, Nevada, the boxing capital of the world. Fans around the world. John Zamel, my co-host, Joe Cortez here. I want to tell you guys what a wonderful weekend of boxing, especially what happened here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Manny Pacquiao proving to the world again at 40 years of age, he's fighting like a 30-year-old. He looked superb Saturday night, beating Adrien Broner, unanimous decision, almost a shutout. It was a shutout on my card anyway.
Was it?
Some of the judges gave Broner 2 or 3 rounds.
Yeah.
I couldn't find really nothing to give him because he didn't have it.
No, he didn't. I want to make sure I wish everybody a very happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. That's if you're not from America, that's something we celebrate here, celebrating his life. I'm sure you've heard of it. And that's on this beautiful day. So everyone enjoying their 3-day weekend. Hopefully you're spending it well. You're spending it with your family. You're taking off work. You're watching the Fair but Firm show. You're doing all the important things in your life. And that's what matters.
Yeah, and of course, you guys in New York is my hometown, my stomping ground. You guys are freezing there. You have a blizzard, not a blizzard, but it's 19 degrees. That's pretty cold there. And I'm glad I'm not there. I'm here in Las Vegas, where today it's maybe a little cool today, about maybe 55 degrees.
It's nice.
Yesterday was 62. So you know what? I'm sorry for you guys at the East Coast. Come and join us here in Las Vegas.
Anytime. You're welcome.
Anyway, guys, this past weekend, Manny Pacquiao showed that he has the skills. He has a lot of the spark of the old Flash.
My God, yes.
Because I interviewed him after the weigh-in, and we were talking about what he's going to do with Adrien Broner, and he did. He proved that he has it all. He still has the movement. He still got the punching power. The skills are right there. I mean, he was not holding back like some fighters. They're afraid to pull the trigger. He was constantly throwing 3, 4 punch combination. He was moving. He was
a lot more active than Adrien Broner, who's 11 years his junior.
Yeah, and not only that, he's more active than most welterweights out there.
Absolutely.
So Manny Pacquiao proved again he was good. I spoke with Freddie Roach after the fight to see what he had to say. Did he give the stamp of approval for Manny to keep going forward? He said, absolutely. Manny definitely still has all the skills. His timing is right. I mean, the guy's very dedicated. Even though he's a politician back in the Philippines, I don't know how he finds the time, but that's what makes him so great.
Exactly.
He's multitasked. He can do so much, and not only with the boxing, but in his private life. He has a beautiful family. He's very religious. He likes to sing. He likes to be a politician.
He does it all.
He's a fighter. He's multitasked. 8-time division world champion. Come on. The guy is super. No question about it.
Well, then I guess that begs the question, right? We're talking about an all-time great, a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the greatest to ever do it, who has nothing more to prove to himself, to fight fans, to anybody ever. He's made more money than he could ever spend. He's, created a legacy that could not be broken. What's next for Manny Pacquiao?
Well, one of the questions I had asked him on Friday, the day of the weigh-in, he said, well, I'm going to be more focused on Adrien Broner, but of course, the Mayweather fight is a big one. I spoke with Freddie Roach about it, and I spoke with Len Ellaby, Mayweather's promoter, manager, and he also said, well, we're not in no rush to fight Manny Pacquiao, but Manny Pacquiao people, Freddie Roach said they will sit down and negotiate. Mm-hmm. I said, I asked Freddie Roach, will it be a 50-50 deal? He said, Joe, the money team it's not going to be 50-50. The money team is the one that's going to be, they're the
A side, of course.
They are the A side, so it's not going to be 50-50 deal. However, Manny Pacquiao, I'm sure looking forward to that fight because he has to prove to the fans that what happened the first time he fought Mayweather was something that
he
came in with an injured shoulder.
Not just that, he believes he won that fight. He said on Inside PBC Studios, his exact quote was, I don't think I lost that fight. He said, so to have that rematch would be able to answer some of those questions. He clearly is kind of affected by that fight, by losing to Floyd Mayweather. He feels like it was like he should have won.
Yeah, but he felt he won. Talking about feeling he won, Adrien Broner, I'm going to put a little clip here that's online. You guys can listen to this here. Adrien Broner, what he had to say.
What did you think about the fight?
I beat him. Everybody out there know I beat him. Everybody out there know I
I beat him. I controlled the fight. He was missing. I hit him clean more times. I beat him.
You averaged 8 punches. Less than 8 punches was the most punches that you had in the round, and it seemed as though you couldn't get close enough.
It already sounded like you was against me. So I already ain't got a fair shake talking to you. But let me talk something. Let me let y'all know. I want to thank the whole hood who came out here. I love y'all. I did this for the hood. Y'all know I beat that boy. Y'all know I beat that boy. What they trying to do is they trying to get that money again with Pacquiao and Floyd. But it's cool. I ain't worrying about it. I'm still that nigga, man. I'm on top. Cincinnati, stand up. West Side, 2-5.
You're 3-3-1 in your last 7 fights. What will you do next?
Hey, I'm 3-3-1 in my last 7, but I'll be 7-0 against you.
Well, that wouldn't mean much. That's the end of this interview.
Well, fans, you heard Adrien Broner there. I mean, did he take too many punches to the head?
He must have.
That he was maybe in a concussive episode because, I mean, he doesn't know what happened. Apparently, he didn't know what was happening that night. He got hit so much, he thought he won. You know, but then we're talking about Manny Pacquiao. He thought he beat Floyd Mayweather the first time around. I think he was off also, but he did give a much better fight
than Broner
did with him with Pacquiao Saturday night. You know, Pacquiao still has a lot left in the tank, and I'm sure that we're going to see him around. He's welterweight, a WBA champion. The hotbed of boxing today is the welterweight division, and I think that Manny Pacquiao.
We're going to get into how much it's even more heating up in just a minute.
Yeah.
But while we're still on the subject of this fight, because this was the biggest fight of the weekend, this is the first pay-per-view of the year. This was the big deal. This, first of all, what do you think Adrien Broner could have done? I mean, what was his biggest downfall in the fight? Do you think he was just completely outclassed, or was there certain ways was there anything he could have done to beat Manny Pacquiao, or was he just always going to lose?
Well, what happened, John, is Manny Pacquiao is a fighter that comes out there from all different angles. He's quick at the bell. He comes out the gate fighting. Whereas Adrien Broner has always been a slow starter.
Yes.
But he never seemed to get off Saturday night. He got stuck on first gear, and that was it.
Yeah, I think you noticed like when he fought Jesse Vargas in the second half of the fight, when Jesse Vargas started to get tired. Same with Sean Porter, same with Marcos Madonna in the 12th rounds. Once guys start getting tired, he becomes more active because he's able to find angles. Yeah. I think it's hard for him to find angles against guys who maybe are at their full strength. And Manny Pacquiao never took his foot off the gas, even at 40 years old, never, ever coasted to a win. And I don't think Broner has the ability or the length to open guys up who aren't, gassed.
Yeah, that's what makes Manny Pacquiao so superior than other fighters, because Manny, his discipline for training is like none other out there. Manny Pacquiao trains every day, harder and harder and harder, especially when it gets closer to the fights. You don't want fighters to get peak out. They overtrain, leave it in the gym. Manny knows exactly. He got a great coach, Freddie Roach, who's been training for the last 16 years. And Freddie Roach told me Saturday night after the fight that Joe, he had it all. He was sharp tonight, like we said before the fight. I mean, Freddie Roach was able to talk to me before the fight and after the fight. And I tell you, he was very pleased with the outcome. And of course, Freddie Roach and I was waiting to see what's going to happen with Floyd Mayweather or whoever they're going to face next.
Well, let me ask you that question. Your gut feeling, what percentage does it take? Because I think Floyd Mayweather's happy too. I don't think he needs this fight. He definitely doesn't need the money. He definitely doesn't need the win for his legacy. But there's a number that gets him out of there, right? What's the number, percentage-wise, that, because, I mean, he wants to make probably, what, $250 million?
Yeah, they're both going to make big money. I think it's going to be more like a 60-40 deal.
60-40?
You know,
I think 60-40 gets Floyd's name on that paper?
I think so.
Right.
I think so. You know, it's not going to be an easy fight for Floyd. Watching him.
Oh, no.
When Floyd was there at ringside watching his fight, he was there for a reason.
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't there to talk about fighting, but he wanted to see with his own eyes up close, what does Manny Pacquiao really have? Can I beat Manny Pacquiao at the pace he was going Saturday night? I don't know if Floyd can keep up with that pace.
I don't know.
You know? Floyd is up there too.
Floyd's older. He's about 2.5 years older than him, I think.
Well,
so he's at least 2 years older than Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah, it goes to show that in boxing, your body, no matter, your mind tells you a lot, but to your body, it says, I can do this.
But isn't it true that it's age, not mileage, or it's mileage, not age? Where, Floyd Mayweather's 43 almost.
Yeah.
But Floyd Mayweather hasn't been in anywhere near the amount of wars that Manny Pacquiao's been through.
Yeah.
And obviously not every, different bodies break down at different times. Manny Pacquiao's an Iron Man, obviously. Yeah. But so's Floyd Mayweather, and he's got considerably less mileage in his 50 fights.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot to be proven for both fighters when they fight. but I think that Manny Pacquiao going to take somebody else on before he takes Floyd.
Okay.
And I think vice versa. I think Floyd going to take somebody else on for a tune-up before he goes. Because Floyd's last 2 fights have been MMA. He's got to get in there with somebody before he goes in with Pacquiao. He's probably going to fight one of the other welterweights that are out there. Not going to be dangerous for him to get him back in the groove, which happens.
Adrien Broner, maybe?
Well, I don't think he want to fight Broner.
I don't think he would either. But who's not dangerous? Who's outside the top 10 who would still be a draw?
You can fight.
Josecito Lopez?
I think John Zimmel.
I can't get down to 147.
Or Joe Cortez.
Yeah.
Charlie Carrillo.
Yeah, maybe the whole team. Take us all on. I'll take it. Floyd money.
I'll take it all at one time.
Take us all at one time, but we'd have to split the money, but we'd be all right. All right. Well, since you know what. That wasn't the only fight that happened this weekend. We had an undercard fight, and I think it's time we address these gruesome photos behind us. You want to explain what happened on Saturday night?
Okay, for the WBA, there was a light heavyweight championship fight, actually IBF, WBC. Bodak Jack. Bodak Jack fought
Marcus
Brown for the light heavyweight vacant title. You can see the pictures behind us, guys. You can see Marcus Brown and how cut up he got. He got like a.
It was Bodak Jack that got cut.
Bodak Jack got a cut of about 30 stitches on his forehead from accidental headbutt, and you can see the referee Tony Weeks. I call him now Tony the Butcher.
He looks like that. He looks like he just got done doing surgery.
Yeah, man. He was. Actually, doctors come out of surgery not as much. So much blood.
You took that picture yourself, right, John?
I took the picture.
So you were right there ringside. You saw it.
I took the picture with John when Tony came out the ring. I said, Tony, let's take a picture. We took one together. I said, no, I will take one by you by yourself. I mean, this has happened to me in the past with fights that I've refereed in the past. But Saturday night, Tony was.
Let's address that. First of all, have you ever been in a fight with a cut that big?
Well, I'll tell you, I've been in fights where I'll give you an example. Manny Pacquiao. Oscar De La Hoya when he fought Julio Cesar Chavez the first time around,
fight, yes.
And Chavez got cut on the eyebrow. It was about he got I think about 15 stitches on that cut, and I can tell you that when he got cut in the first round, I called time. I had Dr. Flip Omansky look at it right away, and then we let it go. But it went a couple of more rounds. I kept bringing him to the doctor 2 or 3 times. And when I kept bringing him to the doctor, the last time I went to the doctor, I felt that it was time that maybe we should consider stopping the fight, because Julio was not throwing punches. He was trying to throw punches, but he was throwing punches wild because he couldn't even see his target.
Yeah.
His vision was impaired so much,
of course,
with so much blood, that my job as a referee was to protect the fighter.
Safety the fighters.
And I don't want Julio to get knocked out because he could see the punches coming.
Or worse.
Yeah, or worse. So my job was to try to stop it as soon as possible, and that's what we did
that
night.
So I guess let me ask that question then as a follow-up. There's a lot of things, there's a lot of factors in this, right, that can prevent something like this. You have his team could have stopped it at any point. You have a ringside doctor who could have stepped in, and you have the referee Tony Weeks, who, who's our first guest ever on the show, good friend of the show. We know that. What can we do as a sport to prevent something like that from happening again?
Well, we have to sit down with the ringside doctors and the referees again. We have seminars on a regular basis, but something like this has to be brought up. To sit down and talk with the doctors and communicate, have better communication with the referees and the doctors, and to make sure, and with the cornermen as well, because the cornermen knows their fighter better than anybody else. But you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure this one out.
That one was rough, man. What else?
Jack was losing just about every round. If he had 2 or 3 rounds in the bag, was a lot. But I
agreed.
I didn't see him doing it. He didn't have his side.
He was getting outboxed. He was getting outclassed. He was getting outworked. He had a gash in the middle of his face.
Yeah, he was blinded by his own blood, and then the punches that were coming on the target as well. He kept getting hit with punches on the target, because that's what you're supposed to do. You got to fight a cut like that. His opponent, Brown, which he was doing, is hitting him with combination 3 and 4 punches right on the forehead, making the injury worse.
Absolutely.
And when the fighter and there was a time there when Jack kind of like got hit with a punch, he kind of like was walking away, like he couldn't deal with it. That was a proper time to call time, bring him over to the doctor, tell the doctor, Doc, I think he's taking a little too much here. And I think the fight would have been stopped right then and there. But, that's one thing we have to watch out for, the safety of the fighter. Tony's a great referee.
Yes.
And we have good ringside doctors. The thing is, for them to get together, thank God nobody got hurt seriously, but it could have been worse. So I think that the best thing to do is maybe in the future consider stopping fights a little sooner than a little too late.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more one bit.
But I can tell you one thing. Tony Weeks had his hands full. He had a tough fight. It was very difficult.
Oh, yeah.
Because there was a little rough tactics in there. And there was bad blood going into the fight.
Yeah, it was all over his shirt.
And I congratulated Tony Weeks for a job well done Saturday night.
No, absolutely. And look, this isn't an indictment on anybody. But at the same time, we just like a great fighter has bad nights. Certain people, anyone's open to criticism, and so we just have to discuss how does something like this happen. You being the esteemed International Boxing Hall of Fame referee that you are, I have to ask. How does something like this happen, and what can we do to prevent it from happening again?
Like I said, we all go back to the drawing board like any professional team, any sports team out there. They win or lose, they go back to the table and say, you know what, we got to fine-tune this little situation here to see if we can prevent that from happening. What can we do in the future? So, so we work with that out. Make sure nobody goes home with permanent damage.
That's excellent.
Talking about permanent damage, not permanent, but I mean Manny Pacquiao. I understand there's some results that he had a little detached.
Yeah, we have New York Daily News. He's got something with his eye. Now, New York Daily News reported it might be a detached retina, which could be career-ending, as we know at this stage in his career.
Not really, because Sugar Ray Leonard had a detached retina, and he fought for many years after that.
Okay. Other people say it could just be a scratched cornea from Broner's tape. Now,
if it's a scratched cornea,
no problem.
The cornea is one of the fastest healing parts of your body.
Exactly.
But you guys that don't know that, the cornea, it heals real quick.
It's a scary situation.
Yeah. But
we got a question?
There's a question from our fans, who's the biggest legacy, Manny or
Floyd Mayweather.
Mayweather. So who
has a bigger legacy between Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather?
Well, you know what? Floyd Mayweather is undefeated, 50 straight wins, and you got to take your hat off to him. He broke the record. I don't know if you call that the Conor McGregor fight one that be attached to that, but it is. And of course, Manny Pacquiao, eight division time world champion. I mean that says a lot about Manny. Manny, 8-time division champion. Floyd Mayweather, one of the richest paying athletes in any sport in the history of boxing or any sport. He made over $1 billion. So you got to balance that one out. Right now, to me, it's like a toss-up. Because they're both great fighters, definitely Hall of Famers with no doubt in anybody's mind.
You going to pick one?
I'm not going to pick one right now.
All right. I think at the end of the day, you have the biggest fan base versus the most marketable fighter of all time. If you got a coin toss, I think you go with the person who won head-to-head. So I picked Floyd Mayweather. But that's not taken away from Manny Pacquiao.
Manny Pacquiao is one of the outstandings in boxing, and I think he's... the first time around for sure. Hall of Famer, he'll be getting this ring.
Oh, yeah, undeniably.
He'll be getting, so will Mayweather.
Oh, yeah, two all-time greats.
I'm looking forward.
Whenever they retire.
I'm looking forward for those guys when they get inducted into Hall of Fame. I want to be there
with them. We got one more question from the audience.
Go ahead.
It's for Joe. Joe, it's asked, what is it like being in front of a sold-out crowd? That size people. You've been in front of some of the biggest crowds in the history of boxing.
Well, I can tell you that I've been with 136,000 fans at Stadium Azteca, Julio Cesar Chavez against Greg Haugen, and I've been in many World Championship fights. I've been over 175 World Championship fights. I'm talking about World Championship, not international or Asia Pacific or national or USBA. No, World Championship fight over 175. I can tell you, you still get the jitters every time you go into that ring. So when you're in front of a large audience, yes.
Yeah. It's lights are blinding.
It's you feel like, wow, you got to pinch yourself. You can't believe that you're there, but you got to maintain your coolness.
You got a job to do.
Keep your composure, making sure you're focused and what you're there for, and that is to enforce the rules and first and foremost the safety of the fighters. So I've been there already, going there tuned in for just making sure that the fighters don't get hurt.
That's a good point.
And to take action, whether it's a knockdown, it was a slip, a fighter gets hit with a low blow.
Sometimes it's loud and it's bright and it's got a lot of things.
And especially when the heat's going on, they're going back and forth. But you're in the middle, and the guy goes down, he gets up, he punches the other guy goes down, he gets up, and you're in the middle of all this mess. Guy got cut, accidental headbutt, low blow. You got to be thinking real quick on your feet, because you got to make split-second decisions. Then you got to call time, bring him over to the doctor. Oh, hey, time, low blow, 1 point deduction, all of this going on, and you know what he said? You say, oh my God. But you got to be real cool as a referee.
You got to be, baby, especially in all that.
You got to maintain that.
All that light and all that noise.
You got to maintain it. Don't pay attention to the crowd. And people are yelling, come on, ref! Come on, ref! What are you doing? Come on, when are you going to take a point? You can't be, let the fans intimidate you.
Especially not 136,000.
Yeah, and especially you got the cornerman yelling at you. Come on, ref! What are you gonna do? What are you doing? When you gonna take a point? Come on, ref! Come on, ref! And you yell that. You got to drown them all out and keep focused. Do what you're doing. Because,
I like that.
If you don't.
Thank you for your questions, guys.
You got to have thick skin in this business.
Hey, moving on to this weekend's fights, this upcoming weekend, we have a lot of stuff coming up. We have Keith One-Time Thurman, the once unified welterweight champion of the world, hasn't fought in 23 months. Last time we saw him, he won a split decision over Danny Garcia to unify the welterweight championship. Right before that, he won a very close unanimous decision over Sean Porter, who's now the WBC welterweight champion of the world. He's returning to the ring against Josecito Lopez to put his WBA Super Championship title on the line. 2 questions. 1, is it fair that Josecito Lopez can fight for a WBA welterweight title despite being so far down in the rankings? And 2, what can we expect of Keith Thurman after such a long layoff?
Okay, I'm gonna answer 2 of those questions.
Okay.
One is, you said so far down in the rankings. He's not even in the rankings. Okay. So the fighters at the top 10. I'll probably get it. Say, come on. I've been here all this time. I've been
waiting for Keith Thurman to come back?
Yeah, waiting for him to come back. I want to fight him, and you got a guy outside of the rankings to put him in for a world championship.
Now, we've seen tune-up fights before, obviously, but not for titles.
Right, not for titles.
Okay.
I mean, some fighters take a title fight when it's not a
between, you get one defense, right?
It's not the number one mandatory contender. You can pick. You have a choice.
You're allowed a voluntary, right?
Yeah. So, but
not after 2-year layoff.
Yeah, a 2-year layoff. If fight somebody who's not even in the ranking to fight for a title, he got stripped of his WBC title because he was inactive.
Inactivity.
So in being inactive, now you're going to give a title shot to a fighter who's not been in the rankings. If I was in the top 10 rankings, I'd be upset. I say, come on, man. What am I chopped liver? What am I been doing here?
Exactly.
I've been working, fighting, winning to get a title shot, and you get this guy.
I've been fighting him against a ghost. I've been having to go up against this ghost for the last 2 years. A guy who won't be able to defend his title. I'm fighting for a chance at this. He finally comes back, and you're giving it to some bum who we haven't seen in years since obviously. Your last fight, right?
Yeah, right. I refereed my last championship fight, Canelo Alvarez, with the Joselito Lopez.
It's so funny.
Joselito Lopez.
That's crazy.
I had to stop it. I counted him out with a body shot by Canelo Alvarez.
That's nuts.
And but
now Keith Thurman when he left last, we had some familiar names, but he was still calling out Floyd Mayweather at that time.
Yeah.
Now he's coming back to a division that has Terrence Crawford, who's arguably the greatest boxer in the sport right now, and Errol Spence, who's known as the boogeyman. A lot of people are afraid to fight him. What is he? Can we still expect the level of dominance that he once had?
Well, you got Sean Porter in there.
Of course.
You got Terrence Crawford. You got a lot of top welterweights out there.
He's returning to a lot scarier welterweight division than he left it.
Yeah, and for being inactive for 22 months, 23 months, it's a long time. So he needs definitely a good tune-up fight. And with Joselito Lopez, I think that'll be an easy fight. Should be an easy fight for him. And if he doesn't beat Joselito Lopez, he can just say goodbye to boxing.
Goodbye to you might as well hang him up.
Yeah, because
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, but I think that...
Now, that's not the only fight we have this weekend.
Right.
We also have a Jaime Munguia, who our producer Charlie Carrillo's favorite fighter, the Tijuana Titan. We have him, the 22-year-old Tijuanan, coming, who we saw beat Saddam Ali in a very surprising, amazing upset.
Knockout.
Then defended a knockout in the third round, I think. Then defended his title against the very game UK sensation Liam Smith, the brother of Callum Smith. And then we saw him in the Canelo Triple G rematch fight against Brandon Cook, and he took him down in 3 rounds.
Yeah.
We have him fighting against, we have him fighting against Takeshi Inoue. This is not the pound-for-pound Japanese sensation Naoya Inoue, but this is the, super middleweight Takeshi Inoue. What do you expect to see from him in Houston this weekend?
Well, I think they're picking the opponents pretty good. It's going to be on DAZN.
Yeah, DAZN, his debut on DAZN.
Yeah, it's going to be good for him. And I think that Munguia should be superior in this fight.
He should continue his run of dominance?
Yeah, he's 21 years of age. He's coming up the ranks really good, being a world champion. And he's one of the fan favorites right now. I saw his last fight here in Las Vegas. But the whole arena was...
Oh, he looks so good,
They were right behind him. And, how great... He has such a big fan base overnight. He's an overnight sensation.
Oh, my God. He really is, though.
After knocking out Saddam Ali in Madison Square Garden in New York. And I think that now what's going to happen is that Munguia now is going to prove to the world that he's the next rising star in boxing.
Now, that's my next question, because he's 22 years old. He's young. But he's here now. I mean, he's got a belt.
Right.
At what point do we expect him to defend his belt against Liam Smith's brother, Callum Smith, or attempt to unify? Because that's the next step. But at the same time, he is young. Most fighters at 22 aren't unifying divisions.
Yeah.
Can we expect him to take that next step in 2019? Or if you're his promoter, are you waiting another year or two until, letting those marinate?
I think I'll let him fight another fight that is competitive but not tough. I think he can give
Rocky Fielding?
No, Rocky Fielding the punching bag. He got to fight a guy out there that's going to give him be a little bit more competitive.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Rocky Fielding that did what he had to do, but come on, Rocky Fielding, when he felt the punches of Canelo Alvarez was he made a cool 33 million.
Yeah, cool 33 fighting Rocky Fielding. Now, speaking of Canelo Alvarez, I was a very vocal critic after that Rocky Fielding fight. I said, oh no, here we go. We're more likely to see a Rocky Fielding trilogy before we see the Triple G trilogy filling out. I thought he was just going to keep fighting bums for $33 million a pop, 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 pop. Keep collecting those paychecks, knowing his fans are going to watch. And I was wrong, Joe, because it was announced that on May 4th, he's going to be fighting Danny Jacobs. Now, this is a fight all of us have been clamoring to see. You most of all. You've been bringing up Danny Jacobs' name as a potential opponent more than anybody else I know out there. What did you make of the news, and what can we expect to see coming up for that fight?
I was with Danny Jacobs Saturday night after the Pacquiao fight here in Las Vegas, and I asked him that question.
You met everybody.
I said, Danny, they call you the Miracle Man because you're a cancer survivor, and he has a 10-year-old son, and he's really an inspiration to so many folks out there for of where he's come from.
Absolutely.
Come back from when he did what he was finished, his career was over. He comes back, beats cancer, becomes middleweight champion of the world. Yeah. So he said he's very thankful and was surprised that Canelo himself chose him.
I was surprised
as the opponent because
he's a dangerous opponent.
He's a dangerous opponent. Danny Jacobs is. I mean, when he fought, we talked about it Saturday night. The interview I did with him about him when he fought Triple G. A lot of fans thought that he lost it. That he beat Triple G.
A lot of fans believe that Triple G beat Canelo.
Yeah.
So you're talking about someone who could very easily
give Canelo one of his toughest fights ever.
Or if not a loss in his second fight on DAZN.
Yeah.
In the middle of a $365 million 11-fight deal. You're talking about someone who could very easily not very easily, but very conceivably hand Canelo Alvarez a loss here.
I think Danny Jacobs is a big threat in the middleweight division. I mean, maybe
at 160, that's huge.
Yeah, he's huge, and he got the punching power, and he's got the hunger. Even though he's champion, he's hungry to show the world that yes, he is probably pound for pound the best middleweight champion in the world.
That's a big deal. That's a big deal, and I want to commend not just Canelo, but his entire team, the DAZN team, everybody for making this fight happen, because this is the fight that people are wanting to see. As a DAZN customer, this is the fight I want to see, as well as this Jaime Munguia fight this weekend, as everything else. I could not be more excited, and congratulations to everyone involved for making what is sure to be a very exciting fight.
Yeah, exactly. And I want you fans, if you can tomorrow, watch on the Joe Cortez show. I'll have Caleb Plant, who just won the super middleweight.
Caleb Plant's going to be on the show?
He will be on my show tomorrow.
I did not know that. That's exciting.
Yeah, he's going to be talking about his win last week, becoming the super middleweight champion. But he's up against some tough opposition. You got David Benavidez, and you got Jose Ramirez, two super middleweight champions from Mexico.
Well, yeah.
So he's going to have his hands full against these Mexican warriors.
And you got Callum Smith and Jaime Munguia, up there. Yeah. You got a lot of other big names.
But he's a 168-pounder, so he's going to be super middleweight. And that's one of the questions I asked Danny Jacobs. Danny Jacobs, I said, if you win the middleweight champion, you got the height. Are you maybe planning to grow into the light heavyweight division? And he said, I don't think so.
It's a lot of monsters.
And I asked the same question to Marcus Brown, beating
Badu.
Marcus Brown beating Badu Jack Saturday night. That's another question. He's also so tall. He had the height of a Badu Jack. And I said, do you think you're going to go into the light heavyweight division? He said, no, I want to stay right here.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to stay at light heavyweight.
Not go to cruiserweight.
I asked him cruiserweight. He said, no, not cruiserweight. He wants to stay at light heavyweight.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of good things happening. A lot of young fighters, a lot of young talent coming up in boxing. So fans, I'm glad you guys were able to tune in. Our fans out there in the United Kingdom. And there's some questions. Who's your favorite fight and why? who is my favorite fight and why. Favorite fight, there's been so many great fights. I can tell you right now, Roberto Duran, when he beat Adrien Broner back in 1989 at the 3 feet of snow in Atlantic City. I remember refereeing that fight. It was like yesterday. Roberto Duran, lightweight champion, welterweight champion, super welterweight champion, goes up at the age of 35 and beats Adrien Broner for the middleweight championship of the world. And that was one of the greatest fights that I'm concerned that I referee and that I feel that Roberto Duran fought. He fought excellent that night. 12 rounds, non-stop. And he said, Joe, I believe you were the referee because you made me fight. You didn't want me to clinch it. You kept tapping me at the elbow in the dressing room. I said, when I tap you on the elbows, I want the arms coming out. I don't want no clinching. I don't want no rough tactics inside. Give me a clean fight. And make sure you keep throwing punches. Don't stop throwing punches. This should be a good fight. I don't want to be breaking up the clinches. And you know what? He said, by you giving me these instructions, I'll follow your instructions as a referee. He said, and you made me fight that night. I obey your commands at all times. He said, and that's how I won the middleweight championship. So, so that's one of my favorite fights. And my hardest fight has to go to when I refereed John Ruiz against Kirk Johnson for the heavyweight championship of the world. And one of them, I keep telling these fighters, if you hit low blows or you hit punches behind their head, committing fouls, especially intentional headbutts, like Joselito Lopez did against Floyd Mayweather, intentional fouls can cause you a fight. And of course, what happened with Kirk Johnson, I had to disqualify him in a heavyweight championship fight. Something I don't want to do in boxing. Mm-hmm. You don't want to disqualify a 4-round fighter. Never mind for a light heavyweight or for a heavyweight championship of the world. I had to disqualify Kirk Johnson and repeated low blows. First warning, then took a point. The warnings again, took another point. After one more low blow, you're out of here. He hit him low. The next punch he threw, I put my hands over my head. That's it. You're out of here. And that's what things I hate to do in boxing. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the toughest fights I had to ever referee.
And thank you guys for your questions. As always, glad we could squeeze in that impromptu press conference at the end there. I want to make sure to wish everybody a happy MLK Day one more time. And I don't know if you have anything else to say.
Yeah, I want to just tell you fans out there that if you are sponsors out there, you want to get involved with our show, be sponsored on the Faber Firm Show or on the Joe Cortez Show, you can tune into us. You can text me on Joe Cortez at joecortez.com. And we will be more than glad to get you to be sponsors. And I can't see the notes out there trying to show me on the right.
I want to make sure that you guys make sure you subscribe to us on iTunes, on Spotify. Make sure you subscribe to our the Joe Cortez channel on YouTube. Make sure you find us on what's our new platform?
Castbox.
Make sure you subscribe to us on Castbox, Audio Boom. Make sure you find, if you're in the Las Vegas area or not, make sure you subscribe. On Saturday mornings, we do our radio show, the Fair Firm Radio Show, on 101.5 FM and 720 AM, K-Dawn, the Valley's only sports news talk radio FM station. So, and if you can't get that, then you can go on kdwn.com and watch that, even if you're outside of the area. Make sure you tune in every week because we got a lot of good stuff to say. And like Joe said, if you're interested in becoming part of our team through sponsorship, we'd be happy to talk about it with you. Just contact us through that.
Okay, fans, but again, thank you so much for tuning in on our show. We'll catch you next week. God bless. Have a good week and protect yourselves at all times. Keep your guards up at all times. And remember, I'm fair, but I'm firm. Touch them up.